I'm pleased to offer you my Easter greetings. Easter, the greatest feast of our church, extends for 50 days, leading up to the great feast of Pentecost. And during the Easter season, we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus and the new life that he gives us through our baptism. Certainly an example of that new life is the election of our Pope, our new Pope, Pope Francis. First time we have a Pope from South America. The first time ever a Pope has chosen the name Francis. And it is so evident that our Holy Father, Pope Francis, finds in that great saint, St. Francis of Assisi, a model for his life. His humility, the humility of Pope Francis, his simplicity of life, his calling us to the gospel of Jesus, to be with the poor and to care for the poor. This has just been an outstanding message for not only for Catholics, but for people all over the world. A sign of new life. During the Easter season, we will follow in our Sunday Masses the gospel accounts of those first disciples who actually met the risen Lord. An example of that is Luke's Gospel, chapter 24. Two disciples are on the road to the town of Emmaus, just a few miles outside of Jerusalem. And on the road, they encounter Jesus. But he appears to them in his glorified body, and they don't recognize him. And Jesus engages them in conversation along the way. It's obvious that these two disciples are very discouraged. They've experienced Jesus' crucifixion and his death on the cross, and their hopes that he would be the Messiah are completely destroyed. And Jesus says to them, "How foolish you are. Your scriptures," and he's referring to the Hebrew scriptures that they know well. And Jesus explains to them the passages that refer to the Messiah, that he must suffer and die and then be glorified. And the disciples are fascinated by this conversation with this stranger. And when they reach their town, he is about to go along the way, and they ask him to stay at their house. And Jesus comes into their home, and he has a meal with them. And during the meal, he breaks bread. At that moment, the disciples' eyes are opened, and they recognize that this is Jesus. When he leaves them, they say to one another, "Were our hearts not burning within us when he walked with us along the way and explained the scriptures?" What is so striking about this account and about other accounts in the Gospels of the disciples who meet the risen Jesus is how personal these encounters were. Jesus engages the disciples and touches their hearts. And this is the same thing true of us. We believe that Jesus is resurrected. He's risen from the dead. Jesus is still with us. And he engages us in life, on our journeys. And he wants to touch our hearts as he did those early disciples. I'm very pleased to offer you my blessing during this Easter season. I pray for you and encourage you to come to our parishes, to celebrate with us the resurrection of Jesus, and to take advantage of the many different opportunities that we have to grow in your faith. May God bless you.